Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fight Net Radio. Leonish Andrew Labouche, bringing you the wonderful world of boxing. I'm coming to you live from downtown LA in the middle of a Cinco de Mayo festival. If you couldn't tell, that's what's going on. It's fantastic. Lots of people. I thought this was the perfect venue to talk about the greatness of Canelo, right? I mean, where else better could we talk about it? What does Cinco de Mayo mean in the... Oh, shit, that's a gunshot.
Are those gunshots? You better...
Jesus, Andrew, what the hell is going on?
Ay.
Sounds like a siren. Yeah, all right. Great, let's get going with Fight Net Radio.
Lee, you better go inside. You're starting to think your festival might be getting shut down here, dude. They're shutting that one down.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. I went a long way for that joke, Andrew.
You're a fucking jerk.
Ooh,
Here I thought.
Correct?
Yeah, it sounded fucking correct. Here I thought, everyone, check this. I thought you were going to finally give several props. I'm like, he opened up the great mariachi band. This is awesome. And look at how, you see how you make me nervous? You see when I said you do a live show at Lee? It's really hard to be me, you guys. To come back after shit. Lee, you're crazy. You're insane. That's a good one. All right, you got me. Good one, Lee.
You know how many YouTube channels I had? Hey. But by the way, for anybody wondering, that's not all one sound clip. Wait, I want to explain the greatness of this joke. I had to open Guadalajara, which is the name of that song. Then I needed Automatic Weapons Fire. Then there's a 1-hour track of sirens that I was about to play. And then on top of that, I inserted a sound effect of a crowd fighting over the top. Which, by the way, in LA, which is why I put this meme up, it's true. It's an excuse for white people to get drunk in LA. But I digress. It's the perfect day to celebrate, and we will talk about it. First and foremost, go to fightnetradio.com. That is our home webpage. You can listen to all of our shows, listen to our back episodes. If you found that opening bit funny, hey, you get the show. If you didn't, it's kind of a place where you can hit the stop button and go find another boxing show. There are plenty that are certainly more tasteful and more respectful of the wonderful world of boxing. We are here to talk about all the results that occurred from last night. We've got a little bit of news to cover. Andrew's adventures in Reno. And I think that covers just about everything. Let's start right out of the gate, Andrew, because I don't think you probably watched ESPN yet.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did? I did. All right. Sure. Trying to get the photo album up. So they started off their evening with Jerwin and Kaha, right?
Yes.
Taking on Funai. Hi, Funai.
Fucking kamikaze Funai right there.
That boy. Kamikaze.
That boy's Funai. Got blood. They always are.
For those of you, I don't even need to read reports. This one only went about 6 rounds before the referees thankfully decided that Funai-san had been beat nearly enough over the course of that.
He was going to go to the death. Funai was going to fight.
He was going to die in the ring. Yeah, look at that face, man.
That dude's real, bro. Hey, Lee, no fucking head movement. I'm just coming straight forward, and we're going to do this. There was 2 of them this weekend. Fighters showing way too much heart. This kid's one of them. Japan, they have, it's in their blood. It's in their DNA. You see this time and time again. These guys come over here. They lack defense, but they don't care. They walk through anything. They had to stop this fight. I was begging for this fight to get stopped. Lee, the straight left of the champ. From the champ, though. The straight left.
And Kaha's looked very good, but he was clearly outclassing Funai.
This was a walking punching bag. This was a home run derby. They should have stopped it. They should have stopped it 3 rounds early. I'm glad they did stop it when they did. But when the kids the guy was getting hurt. He's not even a kid. The man was getting hurt, and he's stumbling around the ring. He's just walking around stumbling everywhere. Like, why are you allowing a fighter to act, to show this on TV? They could have stopped that a lot earlier. A hell of a win. Terrible to bring that guy over here. He had 7 losses. Yeah, he was undefeated for a few fights. That's great. But overall, he lacked defense. This was a setup. This was a showcase. Ancajas did what he was supposed to. Look at Ancajas versus Estrada. That's going to be one hell of a fight for ESPN.
Okay, which takes us to our next fight, which is the most interesting of the fights of the evening, right? So there are empty seats during the Ancajas fights. So then they decide that they're going to bring in the guy who actually packed the Stockton Arena, right? This Gabriel Flores kid.
Hey, he packed it on a Canelo
Going
night.
into this
You
fight,
got to leave that in there. He packed it on a Canelo.
And I want to make this clear. For Ancajas, there were empty seats. The minute this featured 6-round fight starts, there isn't a seat to be had in the building. It's like everybody was standing around and they go, okay, Gabe's fighting now, everybody to their seat. And the minute the fight was over and they were actually talking to ESPN in the Sky booth, like the little pull away shot, there were empty seats again, which is the most remarkable thing I've ever seen about the city of Stockton supporting this kid. So going into this fight, as we've covered, Gabe Flores was 12-0 with 12 KOs. After he fought Eduardo Pereira, he is now 13-0 with 13 KOs. I mean, there's not much to say, but dude came to work. I mean, he seems legit to me, Andrew, but then again, we're watching an Oscar De La Hoya-like build out of Bob. This is clearly Bob's This is the golden child.
Yeah, this is Bob's guy. This is Bob's
new toy.
Look at that. I'm telling you, the kid's going to sell, man. He's 19. He's 19 years old, so he needs to relax a little. He needs to stay humble. Okay, last night, he started putting his hands down, taking unnecessary punches, the little smirks at the camera. Just smile, kid. Stay humble, smile, be respectful. The sky's the limit for you. That's all they got to do with him, seriously. All the other stuff you can leave out. The jewelry hanging off your neck, there's no reason to bring attention to you. Everyone's staring at you already, and you're in a 6-round fight.
Look at this
seriously,
crowd shot, dude.
I know.
Where were these people? Nobody's in the arena for Ancajas. And by the way, let's talk about how remarkable. Let's give kudos to Bob for having the balls to drop a fight on May the 4th in California on the same
Mexican.
Night.
With another man. Yes, he's
a Mexican kid on the same night as Canelo Alvarez. Now, mind you, this fight goes off several hours before Canelo Alvarez. So everybody has time to leave here as quick as possible to get home to watch Canelo Alvarez fight. I mean, it's strategic, but Bob still got an arena full payday out of this one kid. They weren't there to see Artur Beterbiev, right? Beater feeder, right? They weren't there to see Ancajas, although there were quite a few Filipinos there, right? They were there to see this kid, period. That's it. They were there to see
Flores.
And I cannot undersell the remarkableness of this crowd. And I don't know what's up with that stupid purple belt that doesn't mean anything.
It's the 209 belt. It means he's the people's champ. I have no idea. Don't ask. I don't know.
Okay.
It's the 209 belt. That's the area code. So he's Stockton's king.
Can I make air quotes? That's his little brother. Air quotes. That's what he tells him. Yeah, I said it. I went there. All right. In the main event of the evening, Andrew, on Top Rank's card, which is when everybody left the building, Radislav Plaza Shamalama Ding Dong took on Arthur Butterbean.
Man, that dude's all man, though.
Yeah, Radivo. Fucking these names. Kladajic took on Artur Beterbiev. That's as close as I'm going to get on these names.
Yeah, no, that's good. Beterbiev's good, and Kaladzic.
This is another 6-round of
mismatch.
It wasn't even that long. 5 rounds. This is the only way it made it. And again, got stopped right after the round because he was so literally knocked out on his feet. I realize what I'm looking at is a feeder to feed something to Kovalev, right? The only payday for this guy is Kovalev. There's no other payday. They've asked Andre Ward.
The light heavyweights are getting juicy. There's a lot of fights starting to develop over here in the light heavyweight division.
I'm telling you what ESPN fed me. ESPN fed me one name repeatedly in regards to Archer.
Okay.
They were feeding me that this is the guy for Big Crusher K.
Everyone wants him, right? Saul Alvarez wants Sergey Kovalev. They want Sergey Kovalev. I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's cool when Sergey getting his belt back, but I could have swore we all thought he was done a fight ago.
And can I mention it again?
I know he beat Alvarez in the rematch. I get it. But he was knocked out, twice back-to-back before that? And now all of a sudden,
Thanks to Andre Ward explaining it for everybody. I think Andre handled it pretty delicately, but basically Andre Ward explained it to everybody about losing to him. So that was the entire night on ESPN Plus.
Hey, wait a minute. This was a hell of a fight. Lee, this kid had no shot. Hot Rod? Let's call him Hot Rod. Okay?
Hot Rod.
Hey, he's from Florida. Yeah, I have no idea how to say his last name, but I hope he gets another shot. Because you know what? The dude was an amateur. Once again, no head movement, had no answer for what was in front of him, but like in the earlier fight, went for it. He just went for it. He went out on the shield, seriously. And he got some punches in, Lee, that almost looked like it was going to turn the tables. I swear there was at least, a hook and a right hand in the last 2 rounds where I thought Beterbiev got a little bit wobbled. But the kid had nothing else. He just said, fuck it, man, and he went for it. Yeah, he got him smashed, but I hope he gets another shot. I hope Bob gives him not with an elite, build him up, give him some more training. That guy has heart, dude. He didn't go out like no punk. Hey, he didn't turn his back and run. I know that. I'll be talking about that later, but whatever. That guy has heart, and he wasn't making $2.5 million, you guys.
Kudos to Bob Arum and his team for literally having the balls to put this fight on May the 4th, on the same night as Canelo Alvarez. I mean, the fucking size of the stones on Bob shows no bound. Like, he just has no respect for any other promoter. He just doesn't care. I'm doing my business. They're doing their business. That's just the way it is. Fuck it.
Lee, right now, Sergey Kovalev, Dmitry Belov, Alexander Gutsnevic, Marcus Brown, Elder Alvarez, Arthur Beterbiev, and Badu Jack. These are some big-time names in the first, 7 spots? You got Anthony Yarde. Now, look it. The kid's unproven, but looks like a crazy prospect and coming up. Undefeated, built like a fucking just a muscle guy. You can look him up. A former Olympian. He's coming. Sullivan Brown and Sean Pascal. This division's lit up. They're going to be here for a while. Yeah, there's not too many Americans. Hopefully Marcus Brown can hold it down for us, but he is a PBC guy. I believe he's PBC. So who knows how many of these light heavyweights he's going to fight. He's the one that just beat up Adonis Stevenson. That's the Marcus Brown I'm talking about.
Andrew.
Oh, shit. Yes, Bob. You don't like it?
Talk about the size of my balls. Come on, say it.
No. Seriously, though, he put a Mexican kid on against Saul Alvarez. He packed the house. When those fans went to their families' houses or their friends' houses to go watch the Alvarez fight, they're still talking about Gabriel Flores. This was total success for Bob Arum on a big night for boxing with a Super Bowl going on in Las Vegas.
Andrew,
Lee,
how big are my balls?
They're not that big, so come on, you're pretty old.
What?
Well, I just said you're a good promoter, dude. You're a good promoter. That was a good turnout for a 19-year-old kid. Tell him to stay humble. How about that, though? I don't want to see the kid get. You know why I'm letting him by? Lee, because he did all the whole, scraping the feet before the bell rings, like he's going to run after him. He had his hands down. 2 of the punches, dude, were clean on his chin. Now, he's got a chin. I'll give him that. But he did not need to take those punches. And if he would have got knocked out, That would have been sad. It's a 19-year-old making a mistake. And that's the only reason why I'm letting him pass. You got to keep him humble. If I'm his team, you got to keep him humble because there's no reason to act overboard. There's no reason. Just sit back, smile, and let the shit come in by naturally. Don't stay humble. Go ahead, Lee.
Which takes us to the Super Bowl of boxing. Happens once a year, Cinco de Mayo weekend. It used to be the domain of Floyd Money Mayweather. Hey, Andrew. Tell him who owns Cinco de Mayo weekend now. Tell him.
Yep, they're back. They are back.
Tell me.
You know what, Oscar? You know what? Yeah. I'd be talking about fucking pound for pound today if it wasn't for that clenbuterol test. So, yeah, you're back. Your boy's on fire right now. Go ahead, Lee.
Do I own the weekend? Do I own it?
Of course.
Until
Floyd comes back, if he comes back. But, of course, you know what? With last night's performance, I think it went a little bit more to the no. I think I have the no on Floyd coming back with last night's performance. I'll tell you why he still might, but I'm leaning towards Floyd might think. I don't even want to see that. I don't want to see that. You know how long it's been? You know what? I don't know, Floyd, how long it's been since Floyd dodged that many punches. I know Floyd's good at dodging and countering. At 42, can he dodge 7 in a row?
Before we get to that topic, Andrew, I'm not going to get to the punchline of this, but if we talk about Canelo, you're talking about Canelo versus Mayweather, obviously, as a rematch. And I'm telling you point blank, Andrew, it would be the dullest fight in the history of boxing.
Lee, what's the biggest fight in boxing right now?
What's the biggest fight?
All right, then.
I understand what you're saying. But based on last night, Canelo doesn't need consecutive dull-ass fights.
Dull-ass fight? Oh, stop it. You know what? The Mexicans are
really?
hard.
The Mexicans who were upset with the fight?
They are hard to fucking please. No, I've always said that. I've told you that during Canelo's whole career. Canelo mastered boxing last night. He mastered it.
Okay. Let's not get all the way there yet, or we're going to have nothing to talk about when we get there.
All right.
First of all, shout out to Bad Left Hook. We'll be using their feed from Facebook. Support Bad Left Hook. Why, Andrew, should they support Bad Left Hook?
Fuck the PBC, boxingscene.com.
There you go. Let's go straight into the old photo gallery from the fight night and cover some of these extraordinary undercards, Andrew. I mean, they were some compelling things that I'm not even going to talk about.
Is this on the Dazin card? Is this Dazin's?
Yeah, let's start from the bottom up. Okay, the first fight I watched was John Ryder versus Bakil Akawi. And this was a last-minute replacement on this fight. And boy, did John Ryder plaster this dude to the mat. In fact, the knockout happened so fast, they started the Dazin filler. Here's the first thing I noticed about the Dazin broadcast if you started at 4:30 like I did. When they have to kill dead space, instead of putting in a swing bout, Andrew, they had a bunch of planned pieces, right? So it's 4:30 in the afternoon. The main event's not going to go off till 9 o'clock. Everybody in Vegas knows it's not going off till 9. If I bought a ticket, I know it's not going off till 9. You know it's not going off till 9. Every boxing writer knows it, right? But at this point, they have like 6 fights that are supposed to stretch from 4:30 until 9 o'clock. And based on that math, Andrew, I'm not a mathematician. I don't think they have enough fights to keep the crowd happy, to keep the viewers happy. So what they did is a bunch of planned pieces. Well, they ran out of planned pieces really fast because in the first fight, this fight only goes about 3 rounds. Okay. So they now decide on the fly, the production team, we're just going to have our air booth, their upper booth, right? Or the Trejos woman or somebody else fill in and give their opinion or a spot interview, but like literally no tangible content. I'm going to say this is a content and marketing guy who makes my money doing content and marketing, Andrew. That's my day job, creating content that sells product, right? So I'm watching product that they have sold to me for $100 for the year, right? And they want me to stay glued to their channel and not switch over to Bob because they're going to fill it with this Trejos woman who used to work for ESPN, who remarkably, as I researched her, Andrew, is a year younger than me, but looks 10 years older than me.
You're such a dick. What?
Tell me she doesn't.
You know
Tell
what,
me she doesn't look 60.
You know what? I don't know who's rocking that haircut, but it was in Reno. I seen at least two older Mexican ladies
who are 60, smoking Marlboro Light 100s, look like that.
Dude, it was weird. One of them, I straight did a double take, like, oh, you totally look like her on the TV. Holy shit. I don't know who's rocking that out there in Mexico, but someone's got that haircut popular right now. It might be Trejo herself.
As I said to the FNR regulars while we were watching the telecast, I'm not saying I wouldn't have sex with that woman. I'm just saying that I wouldn't hang out with that woman. That voice is just, it kills me. She's that nagging bitch. Like, that's the kind of wife you refer to as my nagging bitch. Just saying it out loud, bro.
Man, that's you,
but
bro.
that was
that's
the first fight on DAZN. Right. Didn't go very long. John Ryder made short work, which made Sam down in Australia very happy that their guy did very well. In the next fight, we had Anthony Young versus Saddam Ali. And what I can only deem an epic upset, because we did review the odds, Anthony Young knocks Saddam Ali out, Andrew. What an epic upset. For those of you who don't remember the Saddam Ali story, why is he famous, Andrew? Much like Algieri, much like Sergio Mora, what is the one claim to fame for Saddam Ali?
Well, he took out Cotto.
That's
Cotto.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then consecutively started to lose, and this was sort of the comeback fight, right?
Yeah, he lost to Mungai. Jaime Mungai beat him.
Right. And so here we are trying to rebuild the Saddam Ali career, and he runs into Anthony Young, who knocks him out, Andrew. Knocks him out. Where does Saddam Ali go now?
Oh, fuck, who cares? I don't know. I have no idea, Lee.
Andrew, we have to talk about the right tackle. He was on the fight card.
I don't know where he goes. He's going to be on the undercard of a pay-per-view event again, a non-TV aired fight. That's where he's going to go. Wait, where was he at right now, Lee? He was on the undercard of a, you know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, it's only one step lower.
It's different. Wouldn't you say boxing right now is different than it has been in past years, right? So now you've got.
They're giving us bullshit content. That's what we've been saying.
I understand that, but isn't DAZN and ESPN Plus fuck show time?
Let me tell you guys.
Hold on. Hear me out on this. I really think that ESPN Plus and DAZN are trying to compete with the UFC and give you like this whole afternoon fight experience. They're trying.
Because they've been doing the undercard thing for a long time. They've been giving that to their fans. This stuff is just bullshit content for a website that needs content. Okay? All of this is the ESPN app. It's just an app that needs as much content as you could put in there is as many commercials as you can put in there too. So it's all for money. But people, let me tell you something.
You're trying to tell this to a guy who does marketing for a living.
No, yes, I'm telling the people. No, I'm talking to everyone. No,
the people.
I'm talking to everyone else.
I'm sure I've said it on this show, and I'm going to say
Saddam Ali's an ex-champion. The fact that he was on the undercard of a non-aired TV fight means he's already at the bottom of the barrel. There's no lower. You don't tell an ex-champion, can you fight a rookie on a fight card that's not going to be shown? Back in the day, when there was no showing these showcase fights, this is what I call these are showcase fights. They didn't. Saddam Ali's already at the bottom of the barrel. There is no lower. All he's going to do is go lower on what? On the undercard?
But the way DAZN played it, these were legitimate fights that were worth watching since you tuned in, right? Then why cover it? Why turn the app on? Why not just wait and turn the app on?
Covered up. If you remember back in the day, what big media outlet covered these fights? As a matter of fact, Lee, you and me know this. You could go to a fight and the undercard, there's not a journalist at the tables and nobody cares. Now, maybe if they have that kid, that one kid that he's a prospect, there's some of the media members, they're diehard boxing fans, then you tune in. Then you go, but these guys are making money right out the gate now. Gabriel Flores is not even Olympian. He got 10,000 Lee in there. Ryan Garcia is not even Olympian. Kid's got 2 million followers on Instagram. They're making money out the gate now. They don't need to be showcased. Their showcases are main events.
And I'll tell you this as a fact because I know it. Fight Net Radio is getting ready to sponsor a fighter. Did you know that, Andrew? We're going to sponsor a fighter.
That's fucking awesome. I love that.
It's very exciting.
Yes.
But as I do the research, getting ready to promote the kid, right?
Yeah.
Before I even put Brandon into a gym, the question is he marketable? Can I create a profile? Can I create a following for him? Doesn't matter whether or not you can get a fight for him. You can get a fight for anybody right now. Look, I can get a fight. Nobody wants to see me.
If he doesn't have a smile, then you got to create a story, right?
Right.
If it doesn't have a story, you got to have him drive after something. If he doesn't have a personality,
you create the personality. Correct.
That's right.
That's content marketing. That's right. That's how you get paid.
And I wouldn't do it. You know one thing I wish boxing get rid of? They live next to a crack house. They used to carry a gun when they're... Shut the fuck up. Like, why do you want the kids to know all that? Oh, Gabriel Flores used to be by crack. Yeah, come on, stop, man. I wish they would get away from that. Seriously.
And what I like about boxing, much like MMA, Andrew, is Saddam Ali is the story they're pushing on DAZN, right?
Did anyone notice? Comeback. Yeah. And then his mother was shot. Oh, God. They had to tell everyone that, right? Couldn't just say the mom passed away. You got crack house.
That's not Saddam Ali. By the way, for anybody
I'm talking Gabriel Flores.
He's still on Gabriel Flores and the story of his mom getting shot and the fact that he lives in the hood and he sold crack, for those of you who don't know.
All these stories.
And Bob is using that as a promotional tool because they think it's a feel-good story. What it really is shows how out of touch Bob is in that Vince McMahon meeting that he says.
Let's talk about the crack house. Can we do a piece? Can you get me some video? Can somebody drive around Stockton and go find somebody that he bought crack from? That's what I want. I want a crack piece, right? Kid rises. He's like the Phoenix, Andrew. He's like the goddamn Phoenix. He's a drug dealing kid. The mom died. He has an alleged brother that he's taking care of. And I use the word alleged. We don't really want to check the DNA. Could actually be his son. Who cares? It's not the point. It's not good for the story, Andrew. What I want is a crack house. Can you get in the car and drive around and buy me a crack?
He's Vince McMahon, dude. I totally get it. I totally get Bob and the meetings that he's sitting in.
Lee, why I went off on that rant is when you said you were promoting a kid. We were going to build a story. Let's stay away from he's from the bottom of the barrel.
But the punchline to that joke is Anthony Young, right? So much like the UFC who does like their fighter's house and you get invested in these stories of these guys. Guess what? The minute you lose, the ride is over. Saddam Ali was the story they were pushing at this moment, right? Oh, he's on his comeback trail. He's the guy who just defeated Miguel Cotto. He's had a couple of bounce back. He's trying to get back on track. And tonight's the night he's trying to get back on track. Guess what? Anthony Young didn't get the memo. He walked into the ring. He had a plan. I'm going to knock this dude out while I got 12 people watching me on DAZN. And guess what, Andrew? He's now the USA WBC Intercontinental Silver Green Belt holder, whatever that means. So he's the next of the next of the next of the next guy in line to be in an eliminator fight, I think, based on the math.
And Saddam Ali is the one who put your boy on the map for good. It was the right hand heard across the boxing world, Lee, when Jesse Vargas won the WBO International Welterweight title by knocking out Saddam Ali in the 9th round. The WBO World Welterweight title. I remember that fight. Now that I see it, it was the right hand, dude. The right hand. But
takes us to the pay-per-view.
Saddam Ali has now been knocked out 3 times in 3 defeats. It should be time to put up the gloves.
Would think. I don't know what else he can do based on his age, but I digress. So they start pay-per-view at 6 o'clock. And the reason I say they start pay-per-view at 6 o'clock, that means you could walk into a movie theater or Andrew could walk into a bar and start watching the undercards finally.
Yes. I was actually at the Atlantis at a championship viewing of the weekends. It was the Kentucky Derby and the fight back to back. Let me tell you, Lee, pretty fucking awesome.
Why didn't you invite me?
We only had 2 tickets, my uncle and me. He only got 2. So my uncle's fucking.
He doesn't want the white guy to go, huh?
No, we only had 2 tickets, like I said, bro.
He listens to the show, doesn't he?
No.
By the way, I can't stress this enough. If you're me and you go to Andrew's wedding, you get all kinds of interesting looks from people. I guess it's better to be infamous than famous, I guess. I digress.
Awesome.
The 3 main fights of the evening, for those of you who paid to go see this in a movie theater or whatever, this is where they quote unquote start a pay-per-view. It was Lamont Roach Jr. versus Jonathan Oquendo. My first assessment, Lamont Roach actually looks like a roach. That's my only note on the whole fight, Andrew. Like, this was a non-compelling.
You said that very early.
I did.
Yeah, I remember you texted me that.
Also has the nickname Electric Boogaloo. I mean, that too. He does the Boogaloo. I don't know if he can do the mashed potato, Andrew, but he can do the Boogaloo.
Yeah, well, you better tighten.
Twist and
shake it, tighten up his skills.
I feel like I should have had the twist queued up for that moment. Here we go, loop de loop.
They stepped him up twice. He didn't pull out good performances. First one, Orlando Cruz, he took a draw. And this one
was painful to watch. This fight was painful to watch. You have anything positive to say about Boogaloo?
I thought he lost. I thought Jonathan Oquendo won this fight. So
oh no, I thought he won.
Okay, all right.
7-5-ish, roughly.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, he won by unanimous decision on all the scorecards. And now Boogaloo is the WBO, IBO, PDQRST, Silver, Intercontinental, USBA, IBOPM, PMS, HIV champion.
It's the That's not right. You probably shouldn't link those 2 up together. Oh, jeez. Jonathan, I mean, look at that. Here I go. He's the WBO, NABO super featherweight champ. And it's the same title. The WBO, NABO. That's what it's called. WBO, NABO.
Right. But it comes with 2 belts, Andrew.
But that's another belt. And then he won the WBO International title last night. So he won the WBO International and the WBO NABO title.
Did he do the Boogaloo after the dance in his locker room? Okay, you're not going there. Co-feature of the evening. The first of 2 co-features, right? Don't we have one other before after this?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is Jojo Diaz in his snow cone colored hair, taking on Freddie Fonseca. Okay, another case of a dude who's prepared to die in the ring. If you haven't seen this, it's possibly one of the most vicious knockouts I've seen in quite some time, because in the, I believe, 4th round, I'm doing this all from my memory, Andrew, Jojo Diaz hits him with a punch that knocks the dude out while he's still on his feet.
Wrong fight.
Is that the next fight?
Yes, sir. That's the next one. Jojo Diaz beats the hell out of Freddie.
Oh, and Fonseca gets stopped by the corner. They throw in the towel.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yes,
and they couldn't stop the fight. You're right. You're right.
Hey, and then
this is the brother. 20-minute explanation of anybody can stop the fight. What the hell was that about? Seriously. So tell me, Sergio, anybody can stop the fight, right? And Sergio's like, well, yeah, like anybody can. Like the fighter, like they were filling time immediately because the fight went only 4 rounds, right? So they started in on that dead air filler. I could just hear it over the headset.
Hey, talk about who can stop the fight. That should fill 5 minutes.
I just got word, Sergio, and that's how it sounded. Sergio, anybody can stop the fight, right? And Sergio's like, he literally, I could see him mentally in my eye turning and rolling his eyes at Kenny in his brain of, what did you just ask me? Yeah, anybody could stop the fight. The ringside. So they basically did a list of everybody. This is the first time I've ever seen this, Andrew. They gave a list of everybody who could stop the fight. And from what I could tell, Andrew, if you're sitting ringside, you could stop the fight. Based on the Maura Kenny explanation of who can stop the fight, which was hilarious because the truth is, Fan Man stopped a fight. So what did that teach us in boxing, Andrew? Anybody who gets up on the apron and does something will stop the fight. Am I wrong about this? Like me, Joe Q Citizen fan, if I walked out of press row, walked around people, jumped up onto the ring apron and said, fuck it, I'm never covering another fight for the rest of my life. I'm going out like this, right? If I stuck my head through the ropes and go, hey, ref, you need to stop this fight, would the fight stop, Andrew?
I don't think so. You might pause it for a while. There might be a reason.
Okay. Would that give enough time for the ringside,
the
doctor
person that's
to take
hurt?
a look?
Yeah.
So anybody can pause a fight. And really, that's all that can happen because technically the only people who can stop the fight are the fighter, the corner.
Because even in the Fan Man situation, that went on for almost an hour, getting him out of that.
He paused it substantially.
No doubt, but they still told those fighters to start throwing again. And they were, dude, these guys were, who was it? Lennox, I say these guys, Bo and Holyfield. I mean, you're talking, they were totally cool.
Maybe we should review this for the casual boxing fan.
No, I don't think you
Perhaps
have to.
People didn't know the 4 groups that can stop a fight. So let's cover it to be informative. The more you know. The fighter can stop the fight. We call that a bitch, right? That's pretty fair to say. Oh, I've had enough.
No.
I mean, if you're Oscar De La Hoya, you pretend to have a phantom punch to your side and you just hit the mat. But he quit the fight. He stopped the fight, right? Wouldn't you say that the fighter stopped that fight?
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a bitch though. In the UK, they actually applaud.
Oscar's dropped weight to get paid and be a bitch more times than I care to count. Number 2 person who can stop the fight, right? The guy actually in the ring. They call him the referee, right? Referee can stop the fight for any reason. Oh, I stubbed my toe. This fight is over, right? Officially, that's what he can do. And we call that a fix. The 4th person who can stop it are the ringside officials. Anybody from the Nevada Athletic Commission that's sitting in ringside that's officially officiating the fight. They can stop the fight for any reason. Those are the guys with the maroon jackets. If a guy's standing in the corner, right, and he looks over and he sees a guy slamming steroids into his ass, I don't know, let's say like a Jarrell Big Baby Miller on a stool, right? We'll call it a Jarrell Miller, Andrew. Let's say you're doing a Jarrell Miller in the corner. That would stop the fight, right? And the maroon jacket guy could stop the fight, right? He saw something illegal happening. You agree with those so far?
Yeah.
And the 4th person who could stop the fight is the corner. And of all the corners I've ever seen stop a fight, from Barbara Streisand in the main event all the way to Rocky Balboa in Rocky IV, right? You and I have been brought up to believe you throw the towel, it hits the referee, and that stops the fight, correct?
Yes.
So in this particular case, the corner gets up and throws what I can only consider I'm going to use a term, it's probably going to get me some hate mail. That's a pretty faggy throw, bro. That's a pretty faggy, like you missed the ref. How do you miss the ref?
That's what I was going to say. He didn't even touch the ref with the towel. The ref has the back.
Ref stepped on the towel.
Yeah,
the ref stepped on the towel.
He needs to get in the ring. Felix Trinidad's father got in the ring to stop the fight. When you want your fighter stopped, you stop the fight. Literally, you go in there and you just wave it off, and the ref will see you. Lou Duva, he jumped in the ring in the Melchie Taylor Chavez 1 fight. Everyone go watch the tape. Ha ha. Slap in the face. Anyways, but that's how you do it, Lee. That's how you stop a fight. Right. Fuck just throwing the towel in. Throw the towel.
Fonseca's corner was like, I'm going to throw the towel, but I'm not going to throw the towel really hard. Maybe they won't notice it. Fuck, bro?
Exactly, yeah.
Have you not seen a movie? Like, even I don't train anybody.
Hey, Lee, you know how fighters can get mad? You never know how your fighter is going to react to you quitting on them, right? You quit on your fighters, what you're doing. You're saying, you know what? You're not good enough tonight. I'm stopping this thing. Maybe he was like, fuck, please don't fire me when he let it go, and that's what made him throw it a little bit with not a lot of confidence.
First of all, Freddie Fonseca is 50 years old, okay? Let's get this clear about this fight. Freddie Fonseca was
doesn't matter.
38. Dude, he's 38.
They're going to make another check. He's going to get paid, so that might be his only fighter. I'm just saying that could have went through his mind. That's all I'm saying.
So Snow Conehead gets the win by technical TKO. That's what I'm going to call him. Snow Conehead.
Hey, look, you need to get attention to yourself some way, I guess. He looked like JoJo Diaz. I was going to say he looked good. He's always looked good. He's an exciting fighter. He's face first. He brings it all. He's got no power, but he throws everything like he's trying to fucking knock your lights out. I love the guy, but he has no power. So he constantly stays on the inside trading. He's not really hurt. This guy he was able to break down. But when he fights the better of the division and he's taking their flush power shots, what is he at, 130 now? You know what I mean? Like he moved up 4 pounds. You're going to start getting hit again. You know, he didn't get through Gary Russell. Gary Russell Jr. was able to break him down. So it just looked like the same Diaz. I don't know where he's going to go.
Yeah, it looked like the same.
He wanted Tevin Farmer. Oh, Lee, there's your segue. Lee, there's your segue.
Are we going to start the whole Tevin Farmer thing now?
Lee, he wants Farmer. He wants Farmer. I mean, you know, hey, even the commentating, as bad as these guys are on DAZN, and they're bad. They're across the fucking board. They're all bad. They got this one right. He's in no position to fight Tevin Farmer.
Tevin Farmer makes his first appearance with Trejos. And one eye's looking at her and one eye's looking at the crowd. And Andrew texts me, and I quote, "Hey, Lee, how does he pass an eye test?"
Hey, that's a legit question, man. I'm not joking.
Wait, by the way, the second text was, wait, I want to clarify for everybody. Second text was, that's a legit question, Lee.
Yeah, man. Hey, you guys, hold on. Step back right now.
Photos. Look, I was debating whether or not his topic was going to come up. And I was looking at photos from his last fight. He's clearly looking at two different things while he fights.
Lee, don't play around here. You guys, I want you to step back right now, though. Seriously. Have you ever seen a wide receiver that looks like that? Or a pitcher? Or anyone hitting a fastball?
Well, the only other person I could say that looks like that is Timothy Bradley, and he had to retire.
Hey, what I want to know is that the doctor that signs his clearance to fight, and people, I'm not trying to take money away, but the Tevin Farmer's eye it's bad. It's bad, and I want to know how they get away with that. How, man, I'm not trying to joke here. That was a legit question. I want to know what the rules are. You know what I mean? Like, do you only need 20/20 out of one eye? Or you only have to see, fuck, I don't even want to go any farther with it. But last night, the kid looked like he was looking down at the ground a lot because, you know, his eye is bad. It's bad. I don't know how he's seeing. I became
obsessed with Tevin Farmer because he said, I have a blog, to which I wrote in the chat room, if this dude has a blog, I'm telling you it's going to be a recurring segment on this show.
Yeah, and where is it at?
It doesn't exist. He does a YouTube video where he shoots himself spending money, basically. And
that's exciting.
Oh wait, I'll go a step further. Do you want to see how sad everything is for Tevin Farmer and he believes he's got a social following? I'm going to put this into perspective. I'm not going to lie about Fight Net Radio's numbers here. Fight Net Radio probably does what was our last number? Somewhere in the range of 15 to 25,000 views during the average week on Facebook and Twitter and everything else that we do. Andrew and I get a report. These aren't fluff numbers. They've gone down actually a little bit.
I know. We need titties, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, titties always sell. So I went and looked for Tevin Farmer. Okay. And I found his actual Twitter feed, Andrew. First of all, he's not even verified on Twitter, which I couldn't believe. And I had to believe that this really wasn't his Instagram. His Twitter. He only has 12,000 people following him, which I found a little painful to begin with. And then I thought, well, maybe this isn't the real Tevin Farmer. Maybe there's a different Tevin Farmer, to which I looked up the real Tevin Farmer. There's no real Tevin Farmer, Andrew. It's Tevin Farmer 22. That's the one I just showed you. This is the real Tevin Farmer's Twitter. And look at that eyesight. Look at the eyes in that photo, Andrew.
I know, man. I'm just.
Okay. To which I got redirected because I scrolled through his feed. Okay, maybe the blog's here and I'm missing it. So apparently his big deal is life as a farmer. That's quote unquote his blog and his big YouTube whatever, right? Life as a farmer. Basically, life as a farmer is watching farmers spend money and living his life.
We're not knocking him
Andrew,
right now.
Look at how many subscribers he has.
Lee, you're helping him. There you go. Now, hopefully he has more after today.
Let me help you out. We're not even that popular a show, Andrew, in the relative scheme of things.
Oh, will you leave him
We have a higher following than Tevin Farmer. So why does Tevin Farmer think Tevin Farmer is a bigger deal? And by the way, I don't like anybody who talks about himself in the third person. That just makes me mental, okay? Like Tevin Farmer is living this life where everybody's following him. Everybody wants to be him. Fuck this guy. And this is a quote. Fuck that guy. Let him starve like I did. Bro, what is happening in your life that leads you to believe, other than you got to check, what am I missing about Tevin Farmer? I don't think you're even that great a fighter. Help me out, Andrew. Explain life
he's
as
on the
Tevin
out.
Farmer.
Well, sometimes that's the problem with the internet, right? People can think they're a little bit more famous than what they actually are, and maybe that's what you have going on with Tevin Farmer's career. But he is a guy that
profile fight would be against Snow Cone Head.
Yeah, you can say that. I guess you could say that right now. But Lee, he worked hard to get his title. Remember, this is the guy that had like those 2 title shots or what is it called? Eliminators. Then got his title, got a draw or some shit, had to do it again, went to other people's backyards to win it. I mean, Tevin Farmer's done it the hard way. So he's gotten a lot of respect because of that.
He's only making 50 grand a fight, maybe 100 grand. He's not a golden boy getting a $20 million contract.
He's with DAZN. I mean, they're gonna pay him. They do good. I can't knock. I won't knock Tevin Farmer. He's gonna get a shot. Look, he'd be the favorite against the biggest fight that you think is in his career. He'd be a favorite against Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz got no defense, man, and he's got limited power.
Be an entertaining AF fight.
Yeah, Gervonta Davis, Tevin Farmer, they went back and forth numerous times on social media. That could be a big fight for him down the road. Then you got the guy that fucking the boxing world just don't care about, and Miguel Burchell. He's.
My point to all of this is, DAZN wanted everybody to think that Tevin Farmer was a bigger deal than he actually was. And as I said last night on a text to you and also in the chat room last night was, I guarantee that nobody was looking for a Tevin Farmer selfie last night. Nobody. No, the same thing with Andrade. Nobody's looking for a selfie with you, bro. Nobody. Unless they're actual fighters, nobody's looking for, like, the casual fan that was there to see Canelo wasn't like, oh, I got to go get a selfie with the cross-eyed fucker. Nobody's saying that, Andrew. Nobody's saying that.
Yeah, I know. It's probably coming from Leon is, yeah, you're right.
That's a reality. He because he's in this little DAZN bubble and they're interviewing him with, Marita Trejos. I was going to call her Rita Moreno, which is very funny. She does kind of look like Rita Moreno.
They're building up Jojo Tevin Farmer, okay?
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Right.
And really, truthfully, it's going to entertain about 10,000 fans, maybe. And that's on a stream. That's not.
If they do it, let me tell you. Wait a minute. If they do that on the undercard of Canelo's next fight, I think that's a hell of an undercard fight, Lee. Farmer,
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying from a streaming standpoint, as I'm looking at it as content, I think it has great social media streaming impact. But selling tickets, it's not selling a ticket, Andrew. It's not selling a ticket.
He's an undercard. It's an undercard fight.
This dude's from South El Monte. If all of South El Monte
the diehards know these two. The people that are in Las Vegas going to these fights know Jojo Diaz and Tevin Farmer. I'm sorry. I got to stick up for the boxing fans in Vegas, Lee. This would be a decent bout on the undercard of Canelo. So as a main event, you're fucking right. It ain't selling a ticket. Okay, even in Las Vegas,
It's not filling a ballroom. I don't think it could fill a ballroom.
Ooh, at that, you don't think at 2,000? You don't think at 1,500?
So you're saying a theater fight? You're saying like?
Yeah, well, some of those ballrooms in Vegas are pretty small. You know, you go on the bottom of the MGM.
No, ballroom fights are generally 500-ish people. So you're saying a theater-size fight? You're talking like the Lenovo. You're talking like the Park MGM.
The one we go to with the guitar.
Can this dude fighting Tevin Farmer sell 1,500 seats?
Yes, I think they should be able to do 1,500. Yes, sir. Yes, that's not.
I think that they're going to be in the 800-seat Chelsea. They're going to be at the what is it? What's the one up in
Lee? When you think of Jose Ramirez in Fresno and Gabriel Flores in Stockton, trust me, that's not a compliment that I'm saying they can do 1,500 seats. So I understand what you're saying about they can't sell a seat. But if you have a main attraction like Canelo that's already there, bro, this fight is a decent fight because there's bad blood already there. Both guys are very exciting styles. Yeah, no, I like it.
Okay,
I like it.
But I'm looking at it the way they're setting it up. Okay. And for those of you wondering, I'm not against this. All right. But the reality of boxing right now, if you own a channel like ESPN or DAZN, not Showtime, is you're going to treat this like pro wrestling a little bit, right? So you're going to build up storylines. You're going to do the fuck this guy. I don't need to fight this guy. The fights, I can tell you 100%, Tevin Farmer is fighting Jojo Diaz. 100%. I bet my daughter's college savings on it. It's that much of a mortal lock. But they have to create a storyline, right? So that people are interested. And I'll credit to DAZN for doing this, right? They've got enough future vision to go, look, we need to build stars and we need to build stories right now. They've got somebody like me who does kind of the work I do for a living, right? Sitting there going, okay, so where do you guys want to go once this kid wins? Okay, who's the guy he's going to probably fight? Tevin Farmer. What's his story? All right, here's what I want Tevin Farmer roughly to say. They get to do their own interviews, right? And say whatever they want. But Tevin, we want you to hit on the fact that you don't think the kid should fight you. Fuck him, let him starve, something roughly to that effect. You think he can handle that interview? I guarantee this is happening, Andrew. I guarantee it. I guarantee they're crafting this shit.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Co-main event of the evening. Vergil Ortiz takes on Mauricio Herrera. And this is the fight that I mentioned earlier that I got out of order. Vergil Ortiz Jr. knocks out Mauricio Herrera while he's still on his feet. In fact, it's this shot right. It's probably right around here. He was leaned over and he catches him. The dude is just literally out and balanced on his feet, which is more impressive than those people who balance rocks, don't you think? The fact that he was knocked out and still kind of up in the air with enough time for the referee to catch him and gently put him down, that's how brutal the knockout was.
Yeah, but they actually train for that. What you do is you spin yourself around about 20 times and then you try to throw punches on a heavy bag, and you keep doing that until you can fight hurt. So his body went into a little bit of auto mode there. You know, it knew what it was doing. He was trying to stay up, but he was out. He was knocked out.
It was quite an epic punch. My only issue, Andrew, he knocked him out at 8:15, which means I got to kill 45 minutes. I mean, that was my only issue with they had already played all the lead up, the 30 for 30, if they talk about that fucking documentary one more time on DAZN and interview another person, again, do an interview. Go find the guy who was the director of that piece.
Hey, we've talked about this. DAZN needs some major help on their broadcasting of all of their production.
They don't know how to fill time. They don't know how to make it interesting. You're leaving it in the hands.
All the complaints about the streaming not working, though, I think people need to look at their own computers, their own setup, what they're getting into their house. I never have a problem with the streaming part. Once you get your computer updated and have it tuned and ready, the stream is nothing. So all the it keeps buffering and all that, might want to clean up your computer or update your computer. You know, maybe you're not getting a good signal coming in. So there was a lot of hate. There's just a lot of hate for Canelo.
No, I had
seriously.
no issue with the stream last night. I watched it on my big TV at home. So I'm going to give some advice to DAZN. I know they're not listening to this show, but I'm going to give advice on how the production would have been better. You got a 45-minute gap coming up after this fight, right? So if we're going to treat this like pro wrestling, right? They immediately go to the interviews in the ring after the fight. Nobody's saying anything shitty. Nobody's calling out anybody. Why wouldn't you just go to, the build-up packages for the fight and show how Canelo got here with Jacobs and interview other fighters that have fought him along, fill the package. If your main event is coming up in 45 minutes, you guys don't have a swing bout in place, which
they should have had a swing bout. That's the number one thing, Lee.
Bro, how did they not have any swing bouts?
Yes.
That's
where they went wrong. There's a lot of things wrong with the production side on the American side of DAZN. We talked about this yesterday. I really think, I have a feeling like they put it in the hands of Oscar or something. Like Oscar told him, "Oh, don't worry. I know some guys that, we can hire to do this." And they kind of just shot this shit together.
Truthfully, if they really did, I would have been happier with this. Turn it over to Coyote and turn it, bring in the internet guys. Be real nerdy about it. Don't bring in the what they filled it with were
I'd rather
DAZN
see
guys.
professionals. I'd rather see professionals, guys that know what they're talking about.
No, well, yeah. Here's what I mean. The crew that they had were from their baseball package on DAZN. That's the best.
I seen those two. I know. I seen it.
You couldn't get Coyote Duran. You couldn't get
not if they
Steve
suck.
Kim.
I don't want them.
You couldn't get.
Not if they suck. I don't want them if they suck, Lee. I'm talking professionals, man. Not internet guys.
You know what? If you're gonna go nerdy and be on the internet, go all the way and be nerdy and be on the internet. Don't put baseball guys in front of me doing the best knockouts in baseball. I mean, seriously, don't get me wrong. I like the piece because I like that shit.
Maybe they need a little bit of Teddy Atlas to come to their broadcasts.
Whatever. But if you want to go toe to toe on the internet, right? If you want to go toe to toe on the internet, then bring in the internet geeks. Go get yourself 3 or 4 good talkers.
Do you keep saying the internet geeks? I don't. Why? These guys go from the internet to fucking the biggest streaming app in the world. How? What steps did they take? Where is their warm-up?
I could do it. I could do a more efficient job of filling that time than they did.
I wish they did put online that they had auditions for it, because I really just don't. I don't think they got the best of them. I really do. I don't know who put the list together or who got these guys. No,
they don't know what to entertain boxing. You know what it is?
I'm not going to keep knocking them, but the production side was, yes, it was bad yesterday. The commentary was bad. Look, let me tell you something. Brian Kinney, he's a fucking talking head. He doesn't call a fight. He wants to interview. He wants to talk fucking beyond.
Right.
He wants to talk fucking futures. Dude, there's a lightweight fight going on. He's talking about the middleweight fucking unification of Triple G getting a fight. Like, dude, yes, Brian Kinney does not belong play-by-play. Pull him out. Get Teddy Atlas.
If you really want to break this down before we get to the main event, and if nobody knows, go back and watch this one, Andrew. Did Sergio Mora not describe every fighter exactly the same way?
Yeah, I mean, Mora, yes.
Like he only had one fighter.
At least
he's got credibility.
Exactly. Ray Leonard has credibility, at least. You know what I mean? You need some of these guys.
And I'll say this to the zone if they're listening.
Brian Kenny is not fucking Jim Lampley.
He's not.
Yeah, dude, they got to pull. They have to pull him and put him somewhere else.
Here's the other thing. And if you didn't see it on the telecast last night, I recommend everybody to go see it. Jesse Vargas is a legit star when it comes to talking on a microphone. How they don't put this guy on the big show, and they've only got him on the Spanish-speaking station. I'm going to say it again. The zone is stupid as fuck if they don't move Jesse Vargas into Sergio Mora's spot. You want Jesse Vargas. Jesse Vargas has a presence. He's got confidence. Look, I know I shit on the guy for his boxing skills, which is fun. Okay, he fought in Lancaster. And don't get me wrong, listening to Sergio Mora talk about how he got knocked out by guys that are actually in the ring, I did find slightly entertaining. But from a production standpoint, if you're asking me, who do you want in that other chair? I'd say, how much money do we have to throw at Jesse Vargas to get him? Andre Ward sounds like he's asleep on ESPN, like he's phoning it in. I'm going to be legit about Andre Ward. Timothy Bradley's too over the top. Then Jesse Vargas comes along. And this was his first real weekend to shine. Every piece they gave him, I kept thinking, this is a fucking star. He doesn't need to fight anymore. He's a star.
Dazin might want to look at a Roy Jones with the Teddy Atlas. You know, a trainer and boxer, they can argue over while calling the fight.
Go get Foreman. If you want crazy, go get Foreman. I love George Foreman.
They gotta
crazy.
do better. They must do better.
You can't do Lennox Lewis. You can't, the PBC's got a bunch of guys.
PBC, yeah.
Look at who's out there to go get. Go get Klitschko. Go get the smartest mind in boxing. Go get a Klitschko.
Yeah, for over there, maybe. I don't want to hear him on the American side, no.
Oh, you can on the American side. No. The one that's married to the movie star is just fine. He sounds great.
All right. Anyways, Virgil Ortiz, can we talk about the kid that knocked out Mauricio Herrera? The best knockout of the night.
By the way, they did nothing to build this kid up.
140 pounds. He's 140 pounds. He's a junior welterweight. He's 21 years old, 14-0. And for this ball never stops rolling. Listen, this weekend we've seen Gabriel Flores and Virgil Ortiz, top ranking Golden Boy, two prospects that look like the future is very bright for them. A few weeks ago, we watched Top Rank bring out Shakur Stevenson and Telefimo Lopez. You know, the thing is starting to move forward. We're seeing the new fighters come in. It's going to be a matter of time before all these other things are figured out. You know, one thing I didn't get last night. Go ahead, Lee. I don't want to jump ahead. Go ahead. Where are we going next?
Oh,
I was going to talk about Canelo. All right,
let's go to the main event of the evening. Your main event of the evening, 12 rounds. And by the way, kudos to Michael Buffer for getting his contract. He only has to be announcing for one fight.
Lee.
Yeah.
Did you fucking see this kid Ortiz when he got Mauricio Herrera with that shoulder roll bullshit? Did you see him say, fuck the jab, throw a straight right, left hook, and land one every single time? Every single time he gets Mauricio Herrera to the ropes, right hand, left hook, right hand. No jab. We're not fighting. There's nowhere for you to go. Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Just keep punching. 21 years old, power punching combos, had the smarts to take out a veteran, cagey veteran fighter that has never been stopped. Come on. The sky's the limit for this kid. Slow. You know, I heard him say, I want a title. I heard the commentator, oh, yeah, I think he's ready to beat anybody in the welterweight. Stop it. Stop. Well, I'm not saying the guy was 30.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. Virgil Ortiz is about to be the most avoided man in the Golden Boy stable.
Hey, they said he's a new kid for Spence to start saying, it's strap season. It's strap season. He ain't want no piece of this kid. He ain't want no, you're on the wrong side of the street, bro. Yeah, that's right.
No, he's got that angry Mexican shit, dude. I wouldn't want to fuck with this guy.
And you know what? It's not a compliment to call him a young Fernando Vargas. I'm dead serious on that. The kid looked way better than Fernando Vargas. Fernando Vargas might have looked like that against B-level showcase fighters. Hey. Fernando Vargas never took out a Mauricio Herrera.
Hey.
Mauricio Herrera beat an undefeated Danny Garcia. Mauricio Herrera, or should have beat, an undefeated Danny Garcia. Mauricio Herrera should have beaten an undefeated Jose Benavidez. Okay? Mauricio Herrera is a lot better than anything Fernando Vargas ever took him down.
Excuse me.
What? You're De La Hoya. You're De La Hoya. What? That's your fighter, bro.
Listen, Snapperhead. I wrote that line about Vargas.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Show some respect.
Vargas was a fucking thug. Vargas was a flash in the pan, okay? Vargas had his biggest fights is him getting his ass knocked out, looking like a bully with a big mouth that can't back it up. You understand what I'm saying? Vargas, don't compare me to Vargas. Are you serious right now?
Takes us to our main event of the evening. 12 rounds for the middleweight sort of undisputed championship of the world. We saw Canelo start to get taped We saw Jacobs get taped. We watched both fighters get their instructions 2 days before the fight. Like literally, they got their final instructions 2 hours before their fight. I mean, they did everything they could to stretch this out, Andrew. But at the end of the day, at 8:59 West Coast time, Las Vegas time, the bell finally rang, and what we got was an interesting fight. I'm going to say that from a perspective of I saw new things out of the Canelo game completely, okay? I'm going to try to be as positive as I can about this. Canelo needed to come in and make a statement in this fight. He wins a 12-round unanimous decision for those of you that are wondering. The average scorecard was 116-113, as I recall. I do have the scorecards. We'll get to them shortly. Ultimately, his excuse was that Daniel Jacobs was a tough fight for him. But there are a couple of things that needed to be pointed out during the fight before I get Andrew's long explanation of the greatness of Saul Canelo Alvarez, which Andrew's about to do. And if you guys don't believe that that's about to happen, for at least a good 15 minutes, you're listening to the wrong show completely. In fact, if you don't believe that's going to happen, you're listening to the wrong show, okay? Because that's what's about to happen. In fact, it's about to happen so much that I'm bringing back Guadalajara here in a few minutes just to pass my time, because that's how long he's going to talk about the greatness of Canelo Alvarez, right? So after 12 rounds in what everybody that's announcing is calling a shellacking, like they're literally calling it like Daniel Jacobs isn't even in the fight. They're shocked that the scorecards are as close as they are. They're, it's so pro Canelo and DAZN. Don't get me wrong, they paid all the money. That's their Hulk Hogan. This is literally DAZN's Hulk Hogan. Would you not agree with that sentence?
Yes, of course. Yes, I said he's the biggest face in North America.
Your announcers are going to be as pro Hulk Hogan as possible.
Oh, you're
the
so
problem
dirty.
With that,
you're
when
so
you're booking,
dirty.
What?
You're dirty. That's dirty.
But it's true.
He was flawless. He was flawless last night. They should have been on him. Go ahead, Lee.
All said and done, my final answer to it is, Andrew, I kind of agree with Gennadiy. I mean, it looked like a sparring match, and he didn't put that much effort in. Like, what I saw to Canelo was great. I thought the head movement and the new movement that he's introduced into his game is phenomenal, right? Like, it's phenomenal, Andrew. Like, his movement was second to none. But I saw a knee that was strapped up, another discussion about the bad knee, right? And what I also saw was Canelo not putting out the effort to try to knock this guy out.
You're right.
He was in there collecting a paycheck.
No, will you stop? Oh, I won't say that. No, bullshit.
Canelo, I'm going to say this. Canelo can fight better than that, Andrew.
You're trying to piss me off. No, he can't. That's the best he has. I think that was him peaking last night, Lee. This might be the best performance we've seen Canelo put in his career. 7 punches, 4 punches, not being touched at all on the ropes. You're dodging punches, all right? We're talking combos from a guy who I told you guys going into the fight had the offense, right? We know Daniel Jacobs can throw. The man can exchange. The only knock I ever had on him was his chin. You guys wanted the fight. Canelo gave you the fight, and he dominated that bitch. That was an 8-4 dominating performance by Saul Alvarez last night. And let me tell you, the rounds that he lost because he wanted to, because he needed a break. He wanted to take a breath, all right? But what you've seen from him, who beats that? Gennadiy Golovkin cannot beat that. He might not. Don't do that. He might stop him. You're killing it, Lee. I can't hear when you're putting that over me.
I turned it down.
The only reason why I don't call him pound for pound is because of the clenbuterol test. Hey, listen, what am I saying? He has an excuse. No. He has an excuse, okay? I told you guys that before. I seen it in the NFL when my Raiders played in Mexico City twice. There was letters released to the players not to eat the steak or any meat products in Mexico because of contamination of steroids. So that it's a real story, but unfortunately, it's going to stop me from saying Saul Alvarez is the best fighter in the world because there were other fighters that were smarter than him, did the right choices, and didn't eat the meat
because of his bad knee.
Yeah,
I don't know
whatever.
why everybody's dancing around.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Lee got caught. He got caught.
Right.
And until we, we just, I can't say he's the best in the world because of it. It's sad because he might be. When you guys look at this young man's resume, and his skill, the skill set that he's showing on the fighters that he has chosen to fight, he's fucking awesome for this sport. He's the reason why he's the richest athlete in the world at 5 years, $365 million. Did any of you all wanted Jacobs? Jacobs wanted Canelo. Jacobs said, I don't run from anybody. I ain't never ran from a fight in my life. That man was running last night. Did anyone see Jacobs turn his back and literally start running? He got hurt early, and he didn't want any piece of it. He didn't want his family to see him go out on his back, and I understand that. He went for the 12 rounds. He tried to make it a chess match. It's Canelo is there. Canelo, I told you guys going in, on paper, is a better fighter all the way around than Danny Jacobs. Canelo has reached that point in his career, and that's why I'm saying today it might be his best performance we ever see him in. Now, with that being said, the knock that Lee brought up about him not having the killer instinct, I got to agree with that. Because there was in the 8th round, the 9th round, Daniel Jacobs really looked like he was ready on a triple left hook, a double left hook, an excuse. He would go down. He would quit. But Canelo didn't give him that excuse. Canelo kept pop-shotting. Canelo kept going for points. Jacobs was okay with that. Jacobs scored a few points. Let me tell you, the fucking chin on Saul Alvarez is second to none. You seen Lomachenko. You guys said he's the Matrix. That motherfucker went down in the 9th round versus Jorge Linares. Last night, you seen Saul Alvarez take on the best opponent, challenger for his title in the super middleweight division. He's never been down. He stood right in front of him, and he dominated the fight. I'm telling you, I see Saul as the best, but I can't give it to him because of a dirty test. That's his fault, not mine. Lee, where he goes from here, it's whatever he wants. They're saying,
I already know where he's going from here because they basically painted the picture for us.
What did they say? Tell me what they said.
He's gonna fight Andrade.
Okay, listen, that guy, he has a title. I get it. He's undefeated. Lee, Saul deserves it. Saul deserves it because he's given you Triple G twice, Rocky Fielding, and Daniel Jacobs. Damn it. That's a hard list of fighters to go through. So if they want to go after the lesser Demetrius Andrade, the WBA middleweight champ, why not? Andrade, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm tall, black, and beautiful, baby. That man right there. If they want
to go, him. He's a great bad guy. He's a great bad guy for Hulk Hogan.
Hey, that's a decent fight, Lee. He's undefeated. He's been in the game a long time. He's fought on ESPN. He's fought on HBO, Showtime. This kid's been under the big network lights in the moment, and he's still undefeated. He's the WBO champ. Why can't he get a shot at Canelo? Like I said, it's not like Saul Alvarez hasn't been given the fights the fight fans want to see. And that's why at some point, people, seriously, if he's not tested dirty in his next major fight, you got to get over the clenbuterol testing and start giving this man credit for the resume and the skill set that he has shown in the ring against it. And for those of you that keep bringing up the Floyd Mayweather fight, a man was not in his prime. Today, the man is in his prime. Today, I believe the decision would be different if Floyd was still fighting. There would be a reason Floyd didn't want to see this kid at 20. What is he today? 26, 27? When did he fight him? 21, 22? There's a different fighter in the ring today. Saul Alvarez, is complete. The package is complete. If he fought Floyd Mayweather right now, Floyd would be fighting a prime Saul Alvarez. I don't see it happening anymore. I don't see Floyd having that drive to come back and take on the speed of him, the accuracy, the defense. Lee, like they said, they said it last night. He has highlights of dropping people with right hands, uppercuts, left hooks, body shots. He's the full package. He could be pound for pound. It's a dirty test that stops me from saying it.
You feel good? Ultimately, here's how the final scorecards looked. One referee had it 115, 113. Where are the actual scorecards? They don't have the actual scorecards.
116, 112. Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, it's like twice one and then one the other.
Here we go. Let me get the actual pick.
All right.
They agreed on a couple of the rounds. I had it 7-5, Andrew.
Yeah, man. Dude, it was a good fight. I had 8-4, 7-5. It's not bad. We're in the ballpark. It was a win.
Shouldn't have been that close.
It was no. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is a man who they said beat Gennadiy Golovkin. This is a man they say Gennadiy Golovkin took the challenge from Saul Alvarez because he did not want to see Daniel Jacobs again in the rematch. Hey, he fought him. He won. Hey, if you have it 7-5 or 8-4, the right guy won the fight.
Now, the person who got the least amount of airtime last night, I'll leave the Mexican music on because he does still do his Mexican style. I'll turn it off. Funny, though, nonetheless. Yes, the man from Kazakhstan was back, and he was ringside for the fight. He did do a couple interviews during the week, and we'll get to those shortly. Gennadiy Golovkin was on hand. He was interviewed after the fight through an interpreter for a guy who actually understands English. I always find that amusing when they do that shit. And the reason for it's very simple. When Gennadiy Golovkin talks in English, he sounds like Borat. I mean, he just does.
Yeah.
Very nice. I would like very much. Right?
Mexican style.
Big drama. Okay, cool for you, Triple G. Stay off the big words.
Metzko didn't respond to him too.
One.
Hey, they didn't respond to him last night though. What was he littered with last night, bro? Booze. That whole.
Yes, he was.
That whole Mexican style bullshit it went out the window. It's done.
The biggest headline that came out of the fight was Golovkin going heel. That's right. He went full Randy Orton in the fight and decided that he's going to be a bad guy. Yeah, what?
Do you think Abel Sanchez is more respected in the Mexican boxing world than we gave him credit for? Was it the firing of Abel Sanchez that brought the booze last night, or was it the Saul Alvarez fight? You know what I mean? If I'm Abel Sanchez, I went to bed with a smile last night, right? His people responded.
Yeah, that's if any. Look, again, the people who spend money on that fight that are there in Vegas, how many of them really know who Abel Sanchez is?
Lee, come on. Once again, you're underestimating the Las Vegas fight fan. Dude, there's a lot of...
Andrew, when I win the lottery... Okay, here's another project we're going to do when I win the lottery.
I know 6 guys that went to that fight that spent $350 each to sit in the upper deck. All right? There are fight fans that drop that type of money to see that one fight that they've never seen before. They've never been there. Lee, I'm telling you, don't underestimate the fight fan. They know who Abel Sanchez is. They know this guy fired him because he didn't want to pay him. So, all I'm saying is Abel went to bed a little bit of a smile, maybe feeling that his people showed up for him last night.
Well, Gennadiy Golovkin decided to go full bad guy last night. He became the Randy Orton of DAZN. There's a wrestling reference for you. He's decided that he's going to be the bad guy when he faces Canelo again. So he started his campaign. And in his interview, which, by the way, if you check this out, there's more mentions of Andrade and more interviews with Andrade than there are mentions of Triple G and interviews with Triple G, if you can believe that shit. Go back and check it. I know I'm right. But when they did interview Triple G through an interpreter, he went full heel, Andrew. He went bad guy all the way, saying, yeah, it was a boring fight. It was like watching it was like a sparring match. And he felt that it was not fair to the fan. and this is what he said, and direct quote, frankly, I was expecting much more. I can't do it. I can't do Borat all the way through. I just can't. Sorry, everybody. Otherwise, you'd have Canelo Triple G calling every week. All I can do is
very nice drama style.
That's it. That's all he can do. That's the length of my impression of it. Frankly, I was expecting much more. It was like watching a sparring match. It was a little boring. They are both high-level boxers. They should give more to the audience. I didn't see any emotion. I didn't see anything special. It was just good sparring match. I agree.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. That's bullshit.
Andrew, Canelo could have gone a full level above that. I saw it in his.
I know that, but that's
did the bare minimum to get the win.
Yeah, and sometimes you give too much and you end up the loser. Okay, so Canelo did what he had to win the fight against a very tough opponent. Daniel Jacobs showed up. Daniel Jacobs scraped Saul Alvarez a couple of times with right hands that I thought should have wobbled him. If Canelo got wobbled by Cotto's brother, Jose, you would have thought the right hand from Daniel Jacobs at 100. Another thing you need to bring up, the 173 pounds. Jacobs skipped the 10-pound weight limit, came in at a regular 173, which is fine. I don't care. You want to give up $1 million and go full board? That's fine. Didn't help. Just lost $1 million for nothing. But let's not forget. I didn't like how much shit people gave Canelo over this weight limit when Triple G had it in there. It was in Jacobs' last fight when he fought on ESPN. Now, sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. On this one, he didn't. Why are we making it a big fucking deal? Daniel Jacobs has done this before on the 10-pound weight limit clause. So it is what it is. I don't even know where I was going with that. But what, Lee?
Hey. Which one of you fucktards put that video up on your Facebook page, eh? Was that you?
Which one? What are you talking about?
Somebody like you or that stupid white guy put up that fucking thing about Canelo and Jacobs not making. They put up the video of Jacobs and the weight issue.
Spit it out, dude.
Are you trying to hurt my paycheck, eh?
No.
Was that you?
I don't know what you're talking about, so it's probably not me.
I will fucking cut you.
All right, Tyreek Hill.
I also feel like, now that I've found this, I feel like this should be happening in the background. Hold on, let me try it again.
Hey. Did you stand during the Mexican national anthem? Did you?
No, I'm not Mexican. I'm not from Mexico. Shut the fuck up. You're not either. Anyways, hey, but you know what I do like? Everybody stood up. Even the Mexicans, they did stand up for their national anthem, which is awesome. They did it in the viewing, and they stood up. Everyone got up for the real national anthem. So that was pretty good. And now, hey, let me tell you.
Are we going to talk about the condition Oscar was in?
There's about 500 people there. There was a lot of people there for that Saul Alvarez. That whole ballroom league packed. So, yeah, it was a good turnout where I was.
In the room and Oscar's current condition of looking old, kind of pudgy.
He always does. Whenever Oscar's a drinker, right? Dude, when he's a drinker, we know this. When he's not planning a comeback, because he always has, it's like a period with the woman with Oscar. He always, every month, he has like this itch to get a fucking comeback fight or go do some kind of goodbye to his fans. Then it goes away. He starts drinking again or eating, and he gets fat again. He very much has been doing that his whole retired career.
I don't think I like the way you're talking about me.
Let's see what else came out of that. Eddie
hey,
Hearns.
Listen, let me tell you something, Lee.
Yeah.
If Canelo, say he fights Andrade in September, right? Andrade is an undefeated champ, okay? Beats him, right? Now I'm acting like Brian Kenny, but Brian Kenny will do the shit during the fight.
How many people can stop the fight, Andrew?
If he can move up and take on Callum Smith in the UK, and he has not tested dirty in both fights, I think we need to put it to rest and call Saul Alvarez the best fighter in the world. His resume is second to none. I'm dead serious. You guys put up Saul Alvarez's resume to all these other fucking pound for pound fighters. He tops them. It's the drug test that holds me back right now. Last night it was a really, really good performance. Let me tell you, everyone in there was happy. Everyone was clapping at the end of the fight. It was just, I don't know, man. The defense, the offense, the opponent, it was all working for me. You guys wanted Jacobs. He gave you Jacobs, and he dominated Jacobs. Go ahead, Lee.
After the fight, Eddie Hearn wants to see Daniel Jacobs move up to 168 in his post-fight. Where else can he go?
Hey, I guess he didn't think the fight was close, huh? Shit.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance. I thought it was an intriguing fight. I don't think it was necessarily the war we might get, but it was at times. I thought it was a very high-class fight, high-level fight between two elite fighters. I thought that Danny had a relatively poor first half of the fight, and I thought that he won it back at the end of the fight. I scored it 115-113, which is the way I scored it. I think he'll kick himself a little bit, but it's easy to say if he would have been a little more aggressive in the fight. He took some big shots, and so did Canelo, and they both showed a great chin. That's the end of Daniel Jacobs. Andrew, will we be talking about Daniel Jacobs ever again?
Yes, he's a DAZN fighter, so yeah, he will be back. They've got a lot of fighters, even in the super middleweights, that he can fight, and his chin showed up, right? So they're right. They got to, next fight he goes into, he needs to be a little bit more offensive. But seriously, if you watch the fight, I'm going to tell you, Canelo hurt him in those first 3 rounds, I believe twice. That really turned Jacobs into a guy that automatically wanted to go 12. He did not want to go out on his shield in front of his family. And I'm talking about his son. And there's no I don't lose respect for the man because he did that last night. He knew he was outgunned. He's got one of the best fighters in the world in front of him, coming for him, and you want to make it a points thing. You don't want to go balls to the wall. No. I'm not gonna keep going. Lee, it was exciting, bro. That was exciting. Hey, look, in the last few weeks, this last month has been awesome with Lomachenko putting the performance that he did, Terrence Crawford putting in the performance he did, and now Saul Alvarez. I mean, come on. Anthony Joshua, you got to knock out Andy Ruiz in like 10 seconds, bro. That's it. Can you show us you're a heavyweight? Can you be Mike Tyson? Can you just go in there and flatline this fucking dude? And let's go ahead and get all 4 of you. Because has there ever been a time in boxing where we had this many great, talented fighters? The way these guys are fighting. Terrence Crawford, Southpaw, Orthodox, doesn't matter, comes at you both ways. Dude, Lomachenko. All right, I'll stop.
No, it's okay. Keep going. I can't.
I don't. It's too loud. I'm telling you, you kill it. Lomachenko's the fucking Matrix. Anthony Joshua is the new Ali. Like, dude, it's just a great time in the sport right now. And I ain't even talked about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and Spence. And let me talk about Spence. That I did not hear, Lee, I don't know if you heard, I didn't hear De La Hoya or Canelo say that. So was that a bullshit rumor started on the internet or what? Because last night, I didn't hear Canelo say, I want to fight Spence Jr.
No, he didn't.
All right.
Not once. In fact, directly after the press conference, as I was confirmed during the fight, he made it very clear that his goal is to unify the title. On his performance, I'm very happy. I'm very confident because everything came out the way we worked hard for. We always knew going into the fight that Jacobs was going to be difficult, strong, but that's what we prepared for. And I'm very happy to add another title to my history. We're going to continue working and continue winning titles and continuing making history. On what's next for him, the next stop would be anything that brings up another challenge. My objective is to fight for another title, but the only other champion fights in June. You all know my fights are in September. That might be too close, so we're going to think about it as a team and come up with a decision. He's not going to fight Triple G, bro. He's not going to fight Triple G.
Who cares? Triple G's a past. He's the past. I'm telling you right now, if he fights Andrade and Callum Smith, I don't give a shit about Triple G. I really don't. If he fights Billy Joe Saunders, I don't give a shit about Triple G. The boxing has moved beyond. You guys, I left out Alexander Usyk, the cruiserweight king going up to heavyweight. All right? I left out the whole light heavyweight division. I just named off 8 fighters that can sell a main event in the light heavyweights. Boxing is at a great time right now. We even went down and seen Estrada put in a pound-for-pound performance, who already got Netes on the pound-for-pound ranking. And then last night, we had, what's the Filipino kid's name? What's his name, Lee?
Ancajas.
Ancajas put on a hell of a performance, and all of a sudden, 3 fighters in the smallest of weight divisions look like they might have some main events. We have not had a time like this in boxing. It's just good place where we're at right now. Fuck the PBC. Go ahead, Lee.
Please go to fightnetradio.com, get up to date on everything. Click on our Facebook page, follow us. We have more followers than Tevin Farmer. Just thought I'd say that. The reason I'm putting this little commercial break in quickly, because it was fight week, there were a couple of interviews and a couple of topics that needed to be covered before we get out of here. Yeah.
Lee, Tevin Farmer's my boy. But I'm going to tell you, if you go to BoxRec and look at that photo, if Tevin Farmer was to ever get hurt in the ring, you got to ask why. You got to ask why. That's all when I seen him do that interview last night, that's why I came up with that question. It was not a comical question. That was a serious, I want to know, I wish the doctor find someone who knew how they passed these tests on an eye exam. Go ahead, Lee.
Quickly from this past week, a couple of because Bob was out in public, Oscar was out in public, and Andy Hearn were out in public, we got some updates to tidy up the week. First, Oscar De La Hoya doesn't want to see Dana White, doesn't see what Dana White can bring to boxing other than screaming and yelling. And actually, that's funny because we just spent an hour and a half, Andrew, talking about screaming and yelling and selling pay-per-views. But his exact quotes: I wish him all the best. I think he's done a phenomenal job with the UFC. Really? You're going that route, Oscar? You're partnering up with him. This first line tells me he's already partnering with Dana White, Andrew.
Dana White partnered up with DAZN. That's what this weekend Dana White was seen with Eddie Hearn in Las Vegas.
All right. I wish him all the best. That's why Oscar's being calm.
Yeah, big things are coming.
This thing right here says it all. I wish him all the best, and I think he's done a phenomenal job with the UFC.
You're right. You're right. I see what you're saying there.
Why are you blowing him, bro? I can see right through you.
Hey, he's a goddess.
You wanted to fight him last month. Hey, you wanted to fight with him last month. The month before, he was a cancer to boxing. Oscar is the best.
Hey, someone over there in DAZN gave him a phone call, told him to straighten up.
Wait, he's got to address his feelings in the past. Let's see what he says. I have my opinions in the past on how much I feel about the fighters getting treated by the UFC. But at this point in my life, I have so much on my plate. I'm sure he has a lot on his plate. I think we should just move on and worry about growing the UFC. I think we should just move on, and him worrying about growing with the UFC. I'm worrying about Golden Boy and making sure that boxing keeps a shining light on itself. We want to just continue to make big fights. And this is the part where he explains that he's going to suck Dana White's dick. Boxing is a fragmented sport, yes. And at this point, with our partners DAZN, with our partners at Golden Boy, we're finding ways to make sure we continue growing the sport, making sure we take the sport into the masses. But I didn't see any other formula that's out there that Dana White can bring. Really? You said that? But I don't see any other formula that's out that Dana White can bring to the table. Really? Well, why don't you just call him a goddess? Other than screaming and yelling and being vocal. That's basically it.
That's kind of a knock.
So we're going to make all the UFC fights on DAZN about the bad guys, I guess. I guess that's kind of the angle Oscar's playing. Because if Oscar doesn't know that they're playing, it just looks so weird this week and so doughy. He looks like
He's drinking. He's drinking, man. Yeah, good look. He didn't even shave. He probably had a hangover right there, a headache. Freaking Tecate Light will do it to you. I talk with experience.
Announced this week, Teofimo Lopez is to return to the ring July 19th against Nakatani in an IBF eliminator. You had to know an announcement was going to be made this week about Bob's favorite fighter. Are you excited to see Teofimo return to the ring, Andrew?
Of course. How can you not? Kid's exciting, Lee. He's undefeated. He's going up against the undefeated for an IBF eliminator. This is the process of a new beginning, man. This is what boxing needs, seriously. Got a bunch of fucking businessmen right now sitting in some of these divisions. We need a new breed.
I felt that he needed the mariachi,
no,
el mariachi loco.
He's Honduras, but he's from Honduras. I don't know
Close
if they listen. No, that's stupid. Don't say that. Jeez.
And I draw the line at wearing a sombrero. As I talked about earlier.
You're so stupid.
Should I explain that joke?
No, you shouldn't. This is the end of Jesse Vargas, though. Jesse will not get
Jesse
past
Vargas,
this fight.
for those of you who don't know, was out in public, and so of course he opened his mouth. And when I mean open his mouth, boy did he open his mouth. Yeah. Jesse Vargas wants Jaime Munguia after his cuts healed. I don't know why Jesse Vargas wants to end his boxing career.
Yeah, he's writing a check he can't cash there, man. Hey, listen, Lee, he has the skill to get in the ring with Munguia. Don't get me wrong. He's a professional. He's an ex-champ and all that. He does not have the firepower or the size. Bad fucking idea. Jaime Munguia is going to be a middleweight. You're pushing yourself to be a junior middleweight, in my opinion. Now, maybe walking around eating tacos, you can be a junior middleweight. But as a fighter, you are limited in skill and power to bang with them big boys. Jaime Munguia is one of the biggest in that division. Matter of fact, him and Hurd are both big junior middleweights. I don't think Vargas should go there. I see Munguia stopping Jesse Vargas if they are to fight. But hey, didn't I say Canelo's going to stop Jacob? So who the fuck do I know sometimes? But it's a loss. Don't get the shit twisted, Lee.
By the way, if you want to stay completely up to date on Jesse Vargas's life, follow us on Facebook. I am obsessed with Jesse Vargas. His quotes. He's interested as well because I spoke to him in Tijuana on that night that Soto beat Brandon Rios. He said it was a fight he could make. My promoter, Eddie Hearn, spoke to his co-promoter, Fernando Beltran, and Zanfer Promotion, and they're very open to the idea and very interested as well. So it's a fight that everyone seems to be on board for, and I know the fans would like to see it. Woof.
Yeah, not really. Not really.
I don't know why this fight's getting made. I don't know if it's really Jesse.
Like he had a draw with Adrian Broner, correct? A draw with a junior welterweight. And you want to go to junior middleweight to fight one of the heaviest hitters in that division. Munguia brings it. Munguia, he's that tornado, man. It just keeps coming. It's a bad call. Yeah, if I was Jesse, I would say at least stay at the welterweights. I know he's taken a few defeats there. Yeah, whatever.
And last but not least, Eddie Hearn was out in the public this week in Vegas because it was fight week. And somebody cornered him on the topic and said, Eddie, what about Joshua Wilder? And his quote, the Wilder-Joshua situation is bullshit for the sport of boxing. I agree, but you're part of the problem, but whatever.
No, it's not. No, it's
Wilder
not. That's not right.
Got a network deal, nor has Josh. Wilder hasn't got a network deal.
Oh, go ahead, Lee. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, this is what he's saying. Wilder hasn't got a network deal, and nor has Joshua. It's likely Joshua will sign a long-term deal with DAZN. It's likely that Wilder will do the same with Showtime. That's when you have to come together. I will not allow Joshua to sign a network deal that will prevent him from taking an undisputed fight. I think the only person right now who's signed a network deal that will prevent him from fighting on other networks is Tyson Fury. But he doesn't really care. He's won the World Heavyweight Championship. If you said to Tyson, like, do you want to be the undisputed champion? Yeah, he does. but he also wants to make as much money as possible. That's why he's making a lot of money fighting Tom Schwartz and turned down an ordered fight with Deontay Wilder. You have to practice what you preach in that respect. On Shelly Finkel, oh man, he commented on everything. Here is a guy in Wilder that for years and years and years has said, one face, one name, one champion. All I want is one heavyweight world champion. All I want is this. And you let Shelly Finkel come out and say, nah, we got other plans. We'll talk about that in a year's time. A year's time? I can't understand if you're Deontay Wilder, why you would not fight Anthony Joshua for double, triple the money you're making anywhere else, if it's there for him. That's like Tevin Farmer turning down a fight for 3 or 4 times what he's making at the moment to be undisputed champion. It wouldn't happen. So why is this happening? On Team Wilder, perhaps just stirring the pot. I know he's not, because I know that Luis Ortiz has already been promised the Wilder fight. I know that Adam Kalnacki has been promised the Wilder fight. We're not just talking about 2020. We might be talking about 2021 when Wilder is available. It's bullshit for the sport of boxing. It really is.
You shouldn't even say that. You know what? All Eddie Hearn has to say is we try to give that man $120 million. When Al Heyman gives him that, then you come back and tell me I was ripping him off. But until Al Heyman, the PBC, Showtime, Steven Espinoza pay Deontay Wilder more than $20 million per fight, if I'm Eddie Hearn, I never leave that offer. I don't give a shit how many Kawanakis he beats up or Luis Ortiz he beats up in his PBC career. If they don't pay him, we're not paying them. We're moving on. This ball, you guys, it never stops rolling. There will be another heavyweight. I'm just keeping it real. And then when you look at the age of Deontay Wilder, what is he, 34, 35? Fuck, we'll see that guy sooner than later.
That'll do it. Go to fightnetradio.com. I am sure that there is more news that will spin out during the week as aftermath with having all these promoters out on all of these fight cards with all of these fighters talking about everything they're going to do, setting up the next big fight for Hulk Hogan and all of the villains on their respective streaming services. Andrew, you may have the final word.
Until Deontay Wilder, if I was a media member, I would say for everyone to ask Deontay, you really turned down 120? I'd keep that in his ear until he realizes he turned down having $120 million in his bank account. There's nothing Eddie Hearn did here that stopped the fight. There's nothing here that Top Rank did, ESPN did, DAZN did. They tried to make the fight. Deontay Wilder did not want $120 million for the fight, period.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone.